Hello students, today's agenda is to check homework. We'll be learning inequality scenarios and you will be able to work on 3.5. Today students will be able to create inequalities given scenarios and it's going to be done in the standard form. In the previous lesson it was supposed to be in the slope-intercept, but I noticed that some of them were appropriate for standard form. That's why I tried to do some on both methods. But what are those two methods of graphing? Okay, so there are two types of graphing. There are actually three, but we're gonna see two in the previous and this lesson. So it says y equals mx plus b. That's when you have the slope intercept, meaning this is the y intercept, the initial point, and this is the slope, how much to rise for how much to run. In this case, excuse me, y is isolated, y is by itself. Okay, vamos a despejar la y. You have the initial point and the slope, which I just mentioned what they are for. For ax plus by equals c, it means that this is the standard form, and x, you use the x and y intercepts. Okay, that's if x and y are on the same side of the equal sign. In here, y is on that side isolated, x is in here. You have the initial point and the slope. In here, x is on that side, y is on that side. Okay? You can find the intercepts by using viscous or 0, 0. Again, you saw the previous lesson, so you saw that we actually did a mix of both. Instead of just focusing on this one, we did a little bit of both. Okay, so the intercept is where the graphs or lines intersect on axis. To intersect means to have one graph crossover or overlap another. But in here, the intercepts are these parts right here. And if you notice, for this one, the y value has to be always equal to 0. For this one, the x value has to be always 0, because if you move a little bit, then it's not the intercept anymore. Let's start with some examples now. Excuse me. So it says you have 300 grams of silver. You can make rings or bracelets. Bracelets need, let's see, you have 300. Bracelets need 100 grams and silver, of silver, okay? And 50 grams for the rings, okay? Graph this scenario. Again, there are 300 grams of silver. Bracelets need 100, rings need 50. So if I put for bracelets, and you can either use the B and the R for rings, or you can just decide, oh, I'm gonna use this as X and this as Y. Okay, so X is the bracelets, or you can just use B, it's up to you. Y is the rings, or you can just use the R. It's up to you. Okay, so if the bracelets are X, you need 100 for each bracelet, plus you need 50 for each ring, and that's how much you have. Can you use more than 300 if you don't have it? No. So the amount of silver that you use, it has to be less, or you can say equal to 300, meaning it includes the 300. Together, whatever I use, it has to be less or equal to 300. Now to graph it, we're gonna find the X and Y the X and Y intercept. For the X, the Y is 0 for the X intercept. For the Y, the X is 0. Okay, when you're trying to find, so basically the opposite is 0. And so if Y is 0, 0 times 50 is 0, so that disappears. I just told them that disappears because that becomes 0. And so we divide 300 divided by 100, that gives me 3 bracelets. I can build 3 bracelets with 300 silver if I don't construct or do any rings. Now what if I decide to make only rings, no bracelets? I cover the X because that's 0 bracelets. So 300 divided by 50 gives me 6 rings. That's if I decide to make only rings, okay? And so now that I have the values, this is X, this is Y, I can just put in here to make sure that X is bracelets and that Y is rings. And the value that I need at most is 6, so you can go by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so for X, you're going to do 3, 0, 3 bracelets and 0 rings. For the other one, it's 0, 6, so 0, 6. That's going to be, since it has the equal sign, remember that equal sign means that the line is solid. So if you have, I'm going to leave that space in here. If you have less or equal or greater or equal, the line is solid. If you have less or greater only, no equal sign, then the line is going to be broken. In this case, it has the equal sign, so I'm going to do a solid line. Okay? It means it includes those values in there. And I'm going to look at the Y value. If that's positive, I'm just going to follow this. Y is positive. The coefficient of Y is positive, so that this says less. The lesser values are, here is 7, 8, 9, and here is 5, 4, 3. So these are less. So that means that that's where I'm going to shade, and it's underneath of that line. Okay, so right there. So that's how this would look. Now, what if I decided to use the other method? And we'll see if it's not too complex, but to be able to do that, you would have to leave Y by itself. So I'm going to do the work here and do a very tiny graphing here. Again, you can decide which one you want to use unless they tell you graph using this method. So these are the X and Y intercepts. The other one, you have 100x, let me do it, 100x plus 50y is less or equal to 300. I'm going to subtract the x term. This cancels and you get 50y is less or equal than, these are not like terms, so you put negative 100x plus 300. Finally, if we have a coefficient, we divide by that coefficient because we are isolating the y. Remember that to be able to graph with the slope-intercept, meaning y equals mx plus b, we have to leave y by itself. Since this is positive, you don't switch this symbol, so it's less or equal than negative 100 divided by 50 is negative 2x. 300 divided by 50 is 6. So I was going to do it in here, but then it gets a little confusing. So let me show you. You have y, you have x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in here, this is my initial point, my y-intercept. It's on y at 6. And then the rise over run, you just put, if you don't have a run, you just put it over 1. So it means it goes down 1, 2, and then 1 to the right. 1, 2, and 1 to the right. Okay, that's what the rise run. 1, 2, 1 to the right. Notice how it ends up in 3 in here as well. You draw the solid line because this equal means solid. The line is going to be solid, and y is less than are these right here, so that's where you shade. Okay, notice how it's the same graph if you use the x and y intercepts or if you use the slope intercept. Okay, and I know initially this said that this is only for standard, but I'm trying to show a little bit in both videos of both methods, and I think it's easier to identify one or the other. You have $20. You can buy magazines for $2 and books for $5. So that means that the money that you spend has to be less than or equal to 20. You can include the 20 because you have the money. Okay. And for magazines, you pay $2. For books, you pay $5. Okay, again, if you decide to use x and y, let's do it with x and y. You can say 2x plus 5y is less or equal than 20. The x represents magazines. The y represents books. And so for my graph, I'm going to put my intercepts. I don't know if I should use both methods. Okay, 0, 0. When y is 0, 5 times 0 is 0. When you add that, that disappears. So all I have to do is divide. 20 divided by 2, 10. Now in here, for the next one is, let's say that I don't buy any magazines. So 2 times 0 magazine is $0 on magazines. So how many books can I buy? 20 divided by 5 is 4. Okay, so the maximum I need is 10. I'm going to do by 2s. Whoops, a little too big. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's my Rocky right there. Okay, so this is x, this is y, x is magazines, and y is books. So I buy 10 magazines, then I can't use any money on books because they are each $2. Or if I decide to buy no magazines, then I can buy 4 books. My line, I can spend up to the $20, so I'm going to draw a solid line. Apologize that I don't have my ruler here. And I don't have more than $20. That means that I need to buy this combination. Okay, so y less than, this is less than this. So that's where my shade is going to be, below that line, right? And here are bigger, so that means I would be spending money that I don't have, so it has to be on this side. Okay? What does this mean? It means that any point in here, except the negatives, right? I can buy 2 books and 2 magazines and 0 books. I'll just spend 2 times 2 is $4. So yes, I'm within the limit of the 20. Or if I decide right here to make this combination, what would that be? In here, it's 2 magazines and it seems like 3 books. 3 books would be 3 times 5 is 15, and 2 magazines. No, this is a little awkward, so this is not exactly on 3. It just means that I can do any combination in here, okay? I wouldn't be able to do negatives because you can buy negative magazines. Okay, so I don't know, should I use the other method? What you would do for the other method, maybe if I had done it one by one or with squares, graphing paper, it will be easier to see exactly what each point represents. For the other method, you get rid of the x. We're trying to isolate y. These are not like terms, so you have negative 2x plus 20. Divide both sides by 5. And so y is less or equal than. This cannot be simplified, so it's just going to be negative 2 over 5x. This can be simplified. 20 divided by 4 is 4. So again, this is your initial point. Then it means that you go down 2 spaces and you go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. Okay. Then another 2, 1, 2. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So that's how you would do it using the slope-intercept. Y is less. This is bigger. This is less. So that's where you would put the shading. Okay, one more example. You have at least 20 bowling balls. You can fill a bag with 5 bowling balls or a box with 4 bowling balls. Okay, so in here, you're using containers. And when it says you have at least, it means you have more or equal than. Okay, so more or equal than those 20. And you can fill a bag with 5 bowling balls or a box. Whoops. That's where it's convenient to use the X and Y. So a bag is going to be X. And a box, how many boxes do you need? With 4 bowling balls. So we're going to use the X and Y intercept again. So that means that 0, 0, los viscos. And so if Y is 0, that means you're not using any boxes. How many bags do you need? Well, 20 divided by 5 is 4 bags. Now, what if you decide to use 0 bags? Okay? That means you're using boxes only, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. Again, all you have to do is put X is for bags, Y is for boxes. The maximum number you need is 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so it says that you can either use 4 bags or 5 boxes. It includes the equal sign. So my line is going to be solid line. Whoops. And for the Y value, this is positive. So that means that this is greater. Greater, okay, greater are over here. And that means that I need more than this because I have more than 20 balls. So my shade is going to be on this side where the greater values for Y are. Okay, if I shaded this one, then it means I'm using 2 little boxes and bags, and so I would not be able to fit my more than 20 bowling balls. Okay, I have at least 20 means I have more than that. Okay, with this you're able to do 3.5 and have fun.